Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today we have an amazing actress with us. Her name is Carly Sonafelt. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. So before we get into the movies and all the fun stuff that ensues with those, give a little bit of a background of like when you first got into movies and was it something you wanted to do as a child?
Okay. Yeah, so I first got into doing the movies in 2021, I think that would have been. And it was kind of random how I got into it. Prior to that, I'd always kind of had an interest in acting. There was a point when I was always shy, honestly, so it's kind of weird because acting, you have to kind of put yourself out there. But I was always shy, but I also always wanted to get into it because I'd see other people do it and I think that looks like fun, like stage work and stuff like that more so. But so like in middle school, there was a point where I was like, I'm gonna be an actress when I grow up and I'm gonna be famous and all this stuff. And I tried out for plays. I got in a few of them in middle school and then like high school we did like high school musicals and stuff. I can't really sing, so that didn't work out. So kind of gave up on the dream for a bit there, but um, you know, stage stuff I've come to find I don't really that's not really my thing. Once I got into movies, I was like, this is a lot more fun, and to me, it's a lot less stressful since when you're acting on a stage, you can't mess up in front of everyone because they'll know, like we're acting. It's like you could take a few chances at it and do it again. But um, so yeah, anyway, 2021 is when I got into it. It was very random because a girl I went to high school with who was like in the grade below me, I was friends with her on Snapchat, and she posted on her like Snapchat story that she was doing some sort of movie and they needed extras, and if anyone wanted to be in a cult or something to reach out to her. So I reached out. I was like, that sounds like fun. And then we did a Zoom meeting with like the rest of the crew, and they were like, we need someone to play like the sister character. It was a very small role, and I was like, I'll do it. And then things kind of went from there. It's so random. That movie has still not come out yet. They've said that it should probably come out this year, but it's just kind of ironic because it's like that's the first thing I ever did, and it's like the one movie that's like been kind of lost in limbo. But from there, I kind of just met people on Facebook. I was already friends with different people from podcasting because I do like horror podcasts and stuff. So like Rebecca Reinhart is a big one, and then she linked me to like Madeline Deering and Steve Rudzinski, people like that. In the pit because I live in like the Pittsburgh area. That's where I've always lived. So yeah, I would say that's kind of the gist of it. I mean, Facebook is a good way to make those connections, if anything else.
Uh, uh, so with you kind of like doing the plays in school and then like getting your feet wet with the movies in your first movie, granted that it's not out yet, did you find that it was a little bit more like, was it a hard transition or was it like you just dove head in?
I kind of just, I mean, dove in because like I graduated high school in 2015 and I hadn't done anything acting wise since then, or even before because I was also a band dork in high school, so I actually played in the pit orchestra when I realized I couldn't sing. So I only did like two of the high school plays, I think, two or yeah, then I did three. I was like a completely nothing character in one of them. But anyway, so yeah, the movie stuff was all new to me, like being in front of a camera, and I was a little nervous because I was like, I don't know, I might feel awkward having a camera like in my face. Just didn't know how it was going to be, but I actually felt it was kind of seamless. Like it wasn't nearly as scary as I thought, and even now I do still get nervous when shooting something and you got the whole crew and cast sometimes staring at you while you're doing a scene, and that does make me a little nervous, but I try to just like pretend no one's there and just go for it. And I find it's a lot less nerve-wracking again than being on stage, like being on stage and having everyone stare at you. I always felt very stiff. Like even I was watching one of my middle school plays because it was recorded from like 2010 or whatever. And I was like, wow, I'm like not moving at all. I looked like so scared on the stage, and I was definitely like the worst actress on that stage. But it was because I was afraid to like move around. I was afraid I would like forget my lines, I guess, if I multitasked. So I think being behind the camera is definitely better for me.
Oh yeah. Speaking of the band, I played the tuba.
Nice. I was a clarinet player, and I also played alto saxophone briefly in jazz band in school. So haven't touched them since. So I
Yeah,
probably can't play them anymore.
neither have I.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. uh, sorry, that was tirade.
No,
Sorry.
being
uh,
honest.
so you were what was the name of your first one? Your first movie?
Um, it was called Cold Blooded, but they've actually recently reached out and changed the title. I forget what they're gonna call. It's a better title. Like it's more Cold Blooded is so generic. So the title that they are going with now, I really dig, but of course I can't think of it. But I'll have to look at the group page and see. And then of course when the movie comes out, I'll share it around. But we'll go with Cold Blooded was the running title forever. So
All right. You also played Nurse Biltley in a video for Braveheart.
yeah, so that's actually sad because that was like a from home role. I just was able to shoot it remotely and stuff. It was for this older gentleman who I met at Cinema Wasteland in Ohio. He happened to see me from just across the room and he knew Tom Gross. And he was like, "Oh, that girl, like I feel like I could use that girl in my movies." And Tom was like, "Oh, I know that girl." So he introduced me to that guy and his name was Robert. I don't know how to say his. I think it was like Kotabosh, some I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, he ended up passing away. So that movie, he passed away a few months ago. When was that? Like, I think maybe July of this past year. I think he had some medical issues, and then they kind of came back, and it kind of happened real quick. So I did that stuff. He got everything, and unfortunately, he died before that movie could be released because it was actually a part two to that Braveheart. It was going to be Braveheart part two, but
Oh,
he put me on that first one. So yeah, that's why that's like that.
uh, uh,
Good.
so would you say that it was very specific movie that stands out to you that you kind of surprised yourself in that you were in like you went in there expecting one thing and then you exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, I think maybe probably like Cracula. That one should be out I think this spring, but just reading the script and stuff, I thought like, okay, this sounds like fun and we're just gonna go in. I had like a decentish part, like it wasn't that huge, but that was one of those weird movies where a bunch of people had to like drop out for one reason or another, and it was kind of like a cursed film where just stuff kept going wrong. But ironically, I think we ended up pulling off and doing a good job. And by other people having to drop out, I kind of ended up taking over a lot of the roles. Not a lot, but like there was like one other role that was supposed to go to a different girl. And they kind of just like said, okay, you're going to just say these lines now. We're going to make it so it's just all your character. So that one I got to do like a lot more than I was expecting, and that involved a lot of special effects. It was like the gnarliest I ever got on a movie, like just lots of blood. I was covered in ranch dressing for a minute, which never thought that would happen. Just burn effects and stuff like that, like gooey. It was really nasty and kind of unpleasant at times, but it was also one of the funnest movies I have shot so far, and I felt like I was in a movie. Like it just felt cinematic to me for some reason. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that film turns out. But yeah, I got to do a lot more on that than I was really expecting. So that was cool.
Oh yeah. You were in a movie called Shingles. You played the a news reporter. I've seen that one. So that was actually the first one I've seen you in.
Yeah, if you blink, you miss me.
What was it like being on that set though?
It's good. I mean, it was a 1 day easy shoot. I got paid for it, so that was cool. It was like the smallest thing I've ever done, and I did get paid. So I always say like, hey, you can't fault me for that. But yeah, I had auditioned for the girl, the like hillbilly girl with the pigtails and stuff. And Steve said he really liked me, but because I think he did that movie for like the people who wrote the Shingles comics or whatever. And I'm not too familiar, so I apologize if I don't know what I'm talking about. But he said he liked me and he wanted to put me in there, but he didn't know where to put me. And then he was like, "I've got it. You can be this news reporter who gets taken down at the beginning." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds like fun." And yeah, Steve is a really nice, cool guy. And everyone on that set was cool. I met that was I think like the third or fourth movie I ever really did, so I was very new to it. And again, I am kind of shy, so I do get nervous meeting new people, but that really made me feel like I could do this. Like, I can go into things and meet people and, you don't have to talk all that. You can just sit there and be quiet because I mean, while they're shooting, you have to be quiet anyway. So, um, but yeah, it was an easy little role and fun set and just it was fun watching the other actors do their thing too while I was waiting around and stuff. So, yeah, that was cool.
Oh yeah. Uh, so I have a movie here. Uh, I was at a convention here in Michigan, and this person had this movie, and I was like, okay, seems interesting. I've always been a big fan of Jaws, so back
Yeah,
to Shark Attack. You played Jessica.
I did. Yes.
What was this? What was it like being on a set of this film?
That one was great. The set was, we always still brag on it, but like got very lucky with that set. Madeline, the director, Madeline Deering, someone reached out to her, I think like randomly or something, and was just like, "Hey, I have this like I don't even know, like just abandoned bar with apartments upstairs if you have any use for it." And it's like, actually, that's exactly what we need for this movie because she needs a bar and wanted it to be like apartment horror because that's kind of her, she likes apartment movies set in apartments too.
Yeah.
Which I always dig setting and stuff like that. But so the whole overall set was really cool because you walked in, it was like a bar. And, like I said, it was like abandoned. I don't know if these people, I forget if they were like selling it or if they planned on fixing it up or tearing it down. I don't really know the full story, but it was a bar. Then you walked upstairs and it was like the apartment, which is where the Cindy character and her and Chad live. And then there was another apartment actually upstairs, which is where they shot the Crazy Clark, is that his name? Jerry Pytrella's character. They shot his scenes up there, so that worked out. And then yeah, some of it we shot in Maddie's apartment too. So, but I got to work with Lynn Lowry. That was kind of terrifying at first. I literally like we went to like do the first scene and I completely just all my lines went out of my head. I got scared. But then after that, it turned out all right. And she was really sweet and cool. And yeah, we had a fun time making that movie. And I think it turned out pretty fun. Like I actually enjoy watching that film. Like I know I'm in it, but like it's not me that I just think, all the other actors I think are funny and everyone just does a really good job. And the shark, the different sharks they use, I think are really cool. So that was fun.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if you've seen any of the other interviews, but I'm always mentioning my wife because she doesn't watch horror movies, but she sat
Mm.
down to watch this one, and
Oh, nice.
she's like, I see the blood and gore, I see all this, I see, but she's like, I identify with some of these characters. I was like, pre-tell, how do you identify with someone dying in a bathtub by a shark?
Right. Right.
I'm sorry, but yeah, but she liked the movie, she enjoyed it, so yeah, if
Good.
she enjoys it, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get, yeah, it's that is funny. It's like, huh, you're getting a little too emotionally invested here. But I could see that the characters are that's the thing I like. Like Maddie has an eye for comedy and stuff like that. And I feel like and also the characters, we're from Pittsburgh area, so there's a lot of yinzes and stuff like that. If you don't live here, you might get annoyed by that. But I mean, everyone's kind of real to life, I feel like, in the movie. So I think it definitely works in that
Uh,
respect.
uh, you play Alice in Scribbles from the Crypt. I have not seen that one. Can you give a brief synopsis on that and how your character plays into the movie?
Yeah, that one was shot in Delta, Ohio, which is basically like out 30 minutes outside of Toledo. And that's director Brad Case. I think it was like his first, he did like a short film, but this is like his first big one. And it's kind of it's a different movie, I don't think it's an acquired taste because it's one where it's anthology style. So there's different stories. I believe there's like five stories in it total. But it's like with narration over it. So it's the characters aren't really talking, or they are, but you're not hearing them. You're hearing like the narration over, and it's kind of like told in that sort of story format. And each story is told by a different narrator. But my character, Alice, I would say it was easy, but it was kind of hard because I played a dead body that entire movie, and it's a lot. I thought, oh, I don't gotta do anything. I just lay there. But it actually is kind of hard to be dead, and I'm very like twitchy and itchy, and like just like I feel like I have trouble holding my breath. I'm like, people are gonna see me like fluttering my eyelids and all this stuff. So, it was hard in that regard, but overall, I mean, the movie, that's another one, shot it in one day, just took a whole day, went out there and shot it, and got very cool special effects makeup done on my face. Really legit, by a girl named Amanda. I forget her last name, but she made me look dead. Like I was actually grossed out by my own appearance. She was really good with just making it look like rigor mortis had set in and my skin was gray. And so, yeah, that was a pretty simple one. But yeah, I'm just dead in that movie. So if you just want to see me laying around as a corpse, definitely check it out. I think that one's available on Amazon Prime to rent right now. So,
All right.
yeah.
Uh, there. All right. So the big one I want to talk about is Raccoon.
Okay.
Like I love that movie. I mean, like when I saw it the first time, I was like, "Yep, I'm gonna watch this over and over." And I think I'm already up to like, let's just say too many times.
Embarrassing amount. No, like,
But you played Jenny, eh, relatively briefly in the movie, but still impactful. Uh, can you kind of go into detail on like how you prepared for that character and just what your experiences were?
well, to be honest, I know a few crackheads in real life, a few drug addicts, unfortunately, I have encountered in my regular life. So I pretty much just showed up there. I was like, all right, no makeup. I think I put like a little bit of eyeshadow just under my eyes, but I'm not much of a makeup artist. So I was like, gonna make myself look a little run down. And then, I know Brad supplied me with like just a basic shirt and stuff. I wasn't wearing a bra, and you can't really tell, but still, again, I see drug addicts. They just walk around like they just don't care. And I remember we were going to put like we did put like red splotches on me, but it looked really stupid to make it look like I picked at my skin. So we immediately took that off. And acting wise, I mean, um I just yeah, like I said, I know people and I know that when you really need drugs, you just act finicky and stuff. So I was doing a lot of twitching and like I have anxiety anyway, so I'm kind of overly jumpy, anxious person. So kind of just went with that. Trying to think what else. But yeah, that was another simple, fun role. I think it was written for a guy actually originally, and then Brad had me audition for the movie, and I auditioned for the part of the couple that's at the lake. and they're fighting, and he runs a hot dog stand. That's the girl that I read for. But that's not the part. He was just like, okay, Carly, you're gonna come out and you're gonna play a crackhead, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, yeah, there wasn't too much to that one, but it was a good time. That was a good time, you know. And Solon, that guy was fun to work with too, and of course the drug dealer Chris, he or Denny in the movie. That was great. I'm very proud and fortunate to be a part of that film because I can't believe how much that blew up.
Uh, uh, so with your scene with Chris, what was that like? Because just throughout the rest of the movie, for his experiences, for however long he was in the movie, not going to spoil nothing. It
Mhm.
seemed like everyone who worked with him kind of just got that vibe of like, hey, we're gonna have a kick-ass scene.
Yeah, that was another funny one because it's like I show up to the set and he's already in full costume, of course, which consists of sunglasses, his hair back and teeth, and the tank top that said something like what is it, like ass or something like like homo-ish that's like involving weed and stuff like that. And I was just like, huh, does this guy just look like this or is this for the movie? And so I was like, this is gonna be fun. So it was a good time. He's really good. He had a hard time with the dialogue, I remember, on that scene, just because it was a lot of like paragraph, which I struggle with this too. It's like a lot of paragraphs that are kind of similar sounding but slightly different. So it was hard to like not jumble them up. But yeah, it was kind of hard to work with him and not laugh the whole time because he really nailed that role. So
Uh,
yeah, it was great. He's definitely one of the more memorable characters I think in that film.
I actually agree with you. So,
Yeah,
but the whole movie is great. So, uh,
yeah.
you play Madeline in A Cheesy Christmas. I've not seen this one. I can't give a brief
It's
expl. Yeah.
sorry, it's what was I gonna say? Oh, it's so Steve Rosinski made a film called Curtains for Christmas last year, and within that movie, I don't know if you've seen that one, but within that movie, there's a movie called Cheesy Christmas that the main character is like watching throughout the movie, which is basically like a bad Hallmark Christmas parody film. And so she's watching it throughout the movie. So he was like, "Hey, let's just finish that. Let's make this fake movie into a real movie and put it out there." It's not very long. I think it's only like 40 some minutes. I mean, then again, Steve doesn't make very long movies either. He's very in and out. But he wanted people to. It was supposed to look like a 90s television airing of the movie. So he wanted to throw commercials into it, kind of like the WNUF Halloween special type thing. So Steve is not who directed it. It was Madeline Deering who directed my part in that film. And we did a Dingo's Pizza commercial, which you would see in pretty much all of Maddie's films. Uh, yeah, there's a part in Bathtub, I think, with it. At least they're eating Dingo's Pizza in that. So there's always reference to that. It's just a made up pizza place. So we did a fake cutesy little Christmas commercial at Maddie's apartment for that. And it was essentially me just being like, it was the night before Christmas, and then I wake up and the dingo's in the house, and he's brought pizza. And first, I'm like, "What the heck? You're in my house!" And then I realized he has pizza, so I started eating it with him. So that was fun. That was cute, and that's what you got in the cheesy Christmas film, essentially. So
Uh, I've actually seen Curtains for Christmas.
okay,
It's it's a good movie. I'm actually
I
gonna have
agree.
huh?
I said I agree. I think I've seen it a few times now, and I have a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah. Steve's actually gonna be on a little bit later on tonight.
Oh, awesome, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve's a good dude, and his film, like I said, he's very in and out with his films. He doesn't put any like too much filler or any nonsense in them, and that's what I appreciate. And he's funny. He's got a good eye for like comedy. Like his movies have me laughing out loud sometimes. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. So you have a couple other things coming out. There's I want to say more a heavier horror than more comedy coming out called Heartbreaker. You play Christina.
Yes, that one currently, that's another Brad Twick one, of course, who made Crackoon and Crackula. And that one shot, I already shot my scenes. And they actually, unfortunately, there was some issues with footage getting lost. So right now there's an Indiegogo that I think actually ends today or tomorrow, but to try to get back funds for it. But either way, I believe it's going to get made and put out there, but it did get a setback, unfortunately. But again, that one was fun. I played like a goth character. And again, back to Steve Rosinski, his wife is in it, and she plays my lover, my girlfriend in that movie, and she's all gothed out as well. So that was fun to shoot, and she's awesome too. Aileen Isley, she's good people. So yeah,
Um,
hopefully that one turns out good because it was a fun concept. I feel bad that it kind of had the issues it's had, but I think they could get it back on track.
oh yeah. Uh, you're also in another one coming out called Bunny Killer. You play cashier.
Yes, I shot that one. When was that? That was probably that last summer or 2 summers ago now, out in Scranton, PA, which, sorry, I live next to a road if that picked up, but um, I shot that out in Scranton, PA, about 5 hours for me. And again, simple role. I got to do like a country accent and just look like kind of a homely cashier. And uh, yeah, I asked that guy recently. I was like, "Is that coming out soon?" He said it was like still in what you call it, post production. Yeah, post production. So that should be coming out. But yeah, it's exactly what the title suggests. It's a giant mutant bunny rabbit killing people. I don't get killed in it, but spoiler alert. But yeah, I just play a nice little cashier scene, and yeah, that was a fun, easy one to do too.
Oh yeah. One more movie, and then we'll kind of just go on a whim. But you also had T Rexorcist. You
Yeah,
played Betty. Can you give a little bit of detail without spoiling anything or about the movie?
to be honest, not really, because I just recently got involved with that one. That's another Brad Twick movie. He's a great guy, and once you get into his crew, he likes to use the same people again. So he's a good person to get in with, and I think he makes high quality films. Like I think they look really good for being independent. But anyway, T-Rexorcist, he put out the casting call for that one, and I didn't really fit any of the age ranges or looks, so I didn't even like ask to audition for it. But he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to play this girl who gets possessed?" And like I think they're doing an exorcism on. So haven't shot that one yet. I don't fully know well, I mean, I guess the title alone is probably exactly what it's going to be about, but I don't know the full script or anything yet. But I'm going to assume it's going to be wacky fun, and I'm very much looking forward to shooting it. So yeah,
Uh, so you said you do a horror podcast too. Was horror always the genre that like drew you in, or was it just film in general?
it was mainly horror. I'm actually not a huge genre. Like, I'm very picky. Like, I've always liked horror movies. I've always liked comedy. I always like movies that just either make me laugh out loud or make me like hide my eyes because I'm scared. I'm very black and white like that. I've never been one to sit down and be like, I'm gonna watch this 3 hour Western drama or anything like that. So if you ask me, don't start asking me about movies I've seen because it's atrocious. There's so much I haven't seen, but when it comes to horror, there's so much stupid stuff that I have seen that I probably shouldn't even be seeing, but I've seen it. So yeah, horror has always kind of been the gateway. I had parents that were pretty laid back and didn't really care what I did too much. Like I was watching the movie Halloween and Scream at the age of 3, and my mom was kind of like, "Oh, we probably shouldn't do this," but she's like enthralled by it, so we'll just keep letting her watch these. And she would introduce me to stuff like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Friday the 13th, all the slasher movies, especially back then. Those films weren't that over the top bad. She wasn't having me watch like Hostel or something like that. It was just like older films that she enjoyed. Because my mom has a pretty weak stomach, so she wouldn't even like I didn't really watch A Nightmare on Elm Street growing up or anything because she always thought the special effects were too gross and that was just her. So I would just watch what she would watch. But yeah, so I was always really into horror. I like the special effects of it. Like I said, I love getting bloodied up and or just cool makeup, looking different than how I normally look to the world. I think it's fun playing characters that have different dynamics instead of just being plain old Carly. What else? I mean, and then horror, there's just such a realm to it. It could be dramatic, it could be really scary, it can be comedic. It could be Western. Like I said, it could be any, you can incorporate it. You can incorporate other genres into horror so easily. And you just have a bigger community too. There's horror movie conventions. You're not going to find a comedy convention really or anything like that. So
Very true.
it, no other genre is, uh,
That
I guess,
universal.
yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's horror girl.
Uh, what advice would you give somebody who's trying to get into the industry?
I would say definitely just put yourself out there and take any opportunity you can get. Like I said, Facebook is kind of how I've met a lot of people. A lot of it is kind of like luck and stuff like I mean, like I said, I was fortunate personally for knowing podcasters already and knowing some people that acted and stuff and were already involved. So that definitely is helpful if you know people. But if you don't, just I say get into the group pages, like the casting pages on Facebook, and look for those casting announcements. I'm in ones for Pennsylvania and like Ohio, Michigan. Like I'm willing to travel. Some people aren't, but I enjoy traveling for stuff. I think that's part of the fun. Uh, I would say don't expect to get rich off of doing this unless you're going to the big, like, you're going to Hollywood, but it's all for fun. Just have fun doing it. Don't take it too seriously, but always put 100% into every role that you do, I would say. Like take pride in your work, like they say. Try, but yeah, Facebook is a good way to make connections. Don't really recommend Backstage or any of those apps. I've tried those before and I get nothing, but and just be a good person, be a nice person, be reliable, come to things on time, learn your lines, don't just show up and be like, ooh, I don't know what I'm doing, stuff like that. Because and don't be a pain in the ass. It's just it's that easy. If people like you, they'll keep using you in their movies and asking you to come back, and then they'll recommend you to their friends and or they'll be like, hey, they'll tell you like, hey, here's a casting call. So just be a good person. There, that's a roundabout way of saying just be a good person.
Speaking of conventions, there's actually a horror convention here in Michigan called Motor City Nightmares.
I've
Uh,
heard of that.
yeah, it's a nice one. It's more of a it's not huge, but it's
Mhm.
kind of smaller, intimate, and they I go every year. I'm a
Hi.
big fan. So, but yeah, that's one. If you're ever interested, you should try to check out. They're pretty cool up there. So,
Where in Michigan are you
uh,
exactly? Like,
I'm in Roseville, and they are in Novi.
okay. I've shot a few movies up in Michigan. One that doesn't have an IMDb is The Emasculator. Susanna Capostacci made that one. She made Night of the Zodiac as well. But she's up in Brighton,
Oh yeah,
Michigan. So,
yeah, that's
uh,
a couple hours away from me.
okay, that's it. Yeah, see, that's a like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I've seen mention of that convention, so that's one I'll keep an eye out for and maybe go to because I'd like to go to more conventions. I tend to go to the same like three every year, and that's kind of it. But it'd be nice to branch out more.
Oh yeah. Uh, we're coming to the end here. Is there anything you would like to say to any of your former castmates, future castmates, directors, or anything like that?
I've just been very grateful for every opportunity I've been given, and I've been very grateful to work with good people. Like everyone's pretty much been good to me. I've not really had any horribly bad experiences. There's been maybe a few where I'm just like gotten annoyed a little bit here and there, but it's even then, it's like, I had fun doing that. It's a good memory, and the people I meet are just awesome. You end up making people or making friends from all over. I know people in Virginia, New Jersey, New York, all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm very grateful for all of them, and I think all of the people I've worked with do a great job. And I know it's not always easy. I know a lot of people work full-time jobs and then they're trying to do this stuff on the weekend and stuff, as do I. So it's definitely a grind. So I respect everyone involved in this stuff. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. Like it gives me a lot more purpose in life that I didn't know didn't have before. I can't imagine not doing this. And I've only been doing it for a few years now, but I'm like, I don't know if I can go back to just not being in movies and stuff. And it's it's great. So yeah, yeah. Thank you, one and all.
And would you like to plug where people can watch your movies or buy your movies, and kind of just if you want them reaching out to you, you have the floor.
Okay. If you want to add me as a friend or anything, I'm on Facebook just under Carly Sonafelt. I'm, pretty. That's just my name. I'm out there, so I'm not like hard to find. Or follow me or whatever. And then as far as my movies, Scribbles from the Crypt is on Amazon Prime to rent. Everything's gonna be everywhere, but I did a short called Lunar Falls. That's on YouTube. You could just look that up on YouTube. It's about 36 minutes, I think. So if anyone wants to check that out for free, it's on there. Shingles, of course, the movie. I'm in it for a split second, but I think it's a fun movie worth checking out. It's anthology style, and I think every short is pretty good. It's pretty long, but you couldn't really cut any, like I think it doesn't feel long. So that's a fun one. That's on Tubi. And you might be able to, but I mean, Steve, you're going to interview Steve anyway. He could probably tell you. I don't know if he still has copies, but you might be able to buy it off his website. On his website, also, you can get Cheesy Christmas. You should definitely buy Curtains for Christmas on there too, is because they're like companions. But I think that's Silver Spotlight Films, if I'm not mistaken. I know he also has Steve Buster, I think is his Patreon maybe. So I shouldn't be I don't know his info. um, what else? The Emasculator, like I said, is the one I shot in Michigan. That is available on Blu-ray on what is it? Diabolic
Diabolic Film.
website. Yes, yeah. So that's on there. What else? Is there anything else? Bathtub, you can buy Bathtub Shark Attack, you can buy on Lunch Meat on VHS. I know Maddie, she was struggling with like the perks and stuff just because like the Blu-rays there kept being issues, but I think she's finally getting more. She finally got to work out to where it should be hopefully distributed eventually. But either way, it's on VHS if you have a VCR, which I have two of them, so no excuse. You can buy that on lunchmeat.com. Crackoon, of course, you can pretty much get anywhere because that movie blew up into the atmosphere. That's on Screambox, I think Amazon Prime, and then of course you can buy it off of Amazon on Blu-ray or DVD. So if I'm missing anything, just look me up on IMDb. You could probably find my movies. I think that's pretty much it that's out right now that is available to pick up. So yeah, that's that.
All right. Uh, I want to thank you, Carly, for coming on. You've been awesome, and I'm definitely going to be checking out some of the movies I haven't seen. And I'm going to be doing some reviews of some of your movies. I think I've already done one for Crackoon, but if I haven't, I will.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate being on. It's fun to just chat about this stuff casually. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're most welcome. And like I tell everybody, once you've been on NC-17, you have a home with us. Even if you want to come on and say you got a booger in your nose, you can do it.
Sounds great.
Yeah. I clean it out every day though. So
Just
all right,
sucking it
buddy.
out. That's all you gotta do. All right.
All right. It's been an honor. And again, I thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody, until next time, stay NC-17.